Mr. President,
The Democrat leader.
I ask unanimous consent the quorum be dispensed with.
Without objection.
So, Mr. President, today's October 1st, the first full day of Donald Trump's government shutdown. Donald Trump and Republicans have barreled us into a shutdown because they refuse to protect Americans' health care. It's clear that the way out of this shutdown is to sit down and negotiate with Democrats to address the looming health care crisis that faces tens of millions of American families. Democrats want to avert this crisis, but Republicans tried to bully us, and it's clear they can't. They don't have the votes. The way out of this is for Republicans to finally roll up their sleeves and get to work. Republicans need to get serious and start actually addressing the looming crisis and reopen the government. Now, why has all of this happened? Why are we here on October 1st? Because Republicans have tried to stick us with a partisan CR that fails to protect Americans' health care and does nothing to fix the health care mess that they created. It has now failed twice to get enough votes in this chamber. So Republicans need to negotiate with us. And Speaker Johnson's got to get his people here. If anyone wanted evidence as to who wanted this shutdown, just look at the fact that Johnson does not even have the House in session. When Democrats had the White House, the Senate, and the House, when Democrats had the majority in this chamber, when I was majority leader, we never had one shutdown in 4 years, not one. You know why? Because we worked with our Republican colleagues to find a way to keep the government funded. We did this 13 times, as Leader Thune likes to remind everyone. That's a lot of bipartisan negotiation, but not this time, not so today. Republicans need to negotiate. Today is October 1st, and that means something else is happening today. Americans throughout the country are opening their mailboxes and finding letters in there telling them that their health insurance is about to go way, way, way up. The other day, we thought it was about $400 a month that the average American family would pay more in insurance premiums. But it turns out it's even worse than that. A Kaiser report, a nonpartisan, well-respected Kaiser report from yesterday says it's on average of $1,000 a month, and God forbid, even much more for so many Americans. Healthcare premiums, because of what the Republicans have done, is going up 114% a year on average. The average premium is going to more than double. What's the average American family supposed to do with that? What happens on Friday night when the family sits around the kitchen table and says, how are we going to pay the bills, when they see that their insurance could be $1,000 more a month? Health insurance, vital to the parents, the children of the family. What are they going to do? The average American can't afford $1,000 a month or even $400 a month without cutting back on their health care or cutting back on something else that's vital. You know, Mr. President, Americans are saying the number one issue is cost. They now rate Donald Trump worse on costs than they rated Joe Biden, and he didn't have very good ratings. It's the tariffs. It's the change in electricity costs because of what they've done with the cheapest and cleanest source of energy and putting electrons on the grid, which is solar. They got rid of it in their fanatical hatred of clean energy, and now they're putting money into coal. It's incredible. Because of costs of groceries, of meat. But the number one increase in cost now, on October 1st, is healthcare costs. And the average American is going to say, what the heck happened here? And we Democrats are going to be there every day, every hour. Senate, House, groups that care about healthcare, hospital groups, healthcare groups, research groups, and letting them know this didn't have to happen. It happened because our Republican colleagues wanted to give tax breaks to billionaires and cut their health care. It's incredible. It is incredible. 3 times we asked our Republican colleagues to extend the ACA tax credit. 3 times they voted no. Well, it's not too late. Make a change. When I met with the president, he seemed not to know the magnitude of the crisis, and he said, oh, this is going to hurt me. Well, it sure will. But it's going to hurt every American. What's motivating Democrats, what's motivating me, is simply to take this burden off the shoulders of tens of millions of American families who struggle each week to pay the bills, and they don't need this huge increase in something as vital as health insurance. And the Republicans sort of know this. So what do? They make up lies, absolute lies. They say, oh, what they're fighting to do is prevent, they say, illegal immigrants from getting federal health care dollars. That is a damn lie. Not $1 of Medicare, Medicaid, or ACA is allowed to go to undocumented immigrants, not $1. So why do they keep saying this? This seems to be their theme, because they're afraid to talk about the real issue. It's typical Republican response. Have a diversion, try to scare people emotionally. But I'll tell you, to the average American family, that $1,000 a month increase or that $400 a month increase on their health care bills means a lot more than political crap put in the air, lies, by our Republican colleagues. So I was very glad this morning that some of the commentators on TV said that. When they say that undocumented immigrants are going to get this money, it's a lie, plain and simple. It's a lie so lazy and so outlandish it's easy to rebut. But again, let me be clear. Undocumented people cannot and will not receive premium tax credit by law. The federal government does not fund federal health insurance for undocumented immigrants in Medicaid or Medicare, period, full stop. So they don't care. Why? Because they know the American people are on our side, and they know they're going to get angrier and angrier starting today when they see these health care bills. Listen to this poll. A Kaiser Family Foundation poll found a whopping 75% of Americans support extending the ACA premium tax credit, including 63% of Republicans. When our Republican Senate and House colleagues go around their communities, of course the House isn't even here this week, as I mentioned, they're going to hear it in the barbershops, in the restaurants, in the diners, and at the Little Leagues, and at the Veterans Halls, because it's so shocking people are going to be talking about it. They'll see. And we Democrats are going to be there relentlessly letting people know why it happened. Because our Republican colleagues did not want to help us out of this crisis. Instead, they wanted to give the dollars to billionaires. President Trump calls what the Democrats want radical. President Trump, it is not radical to say Americans deserve lower health care premiums. It is not radical to say we want to prevent the average American family from getting these huge increases, those on ACA, $1,000 a month. When Democrats say we want to work with Republicans to lower premiums, to strengthen health care, all we are doing is reflecting what the American people already want. Nothing more, nothing less. They want us to sit down and negotiate something real that takes this huge, huge burden off their shoulders. And Donald Trump, instead of acting like an adult, he's the most immature president we have ever had. Instead of doing something to stop the healthcare crisis, is threatening to hurt countless hardworking Americans. Let me repeat the quote Donald Trump said yesterday. We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible. They're bad for them and irreversible, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things they like, cutting programs they like. Donald Trump says it loud and clear. That's one thing about him. He is using the American people as pawns, threatening pain on the country as blackmail. Well, that's not going to work. The American people, it's so easy to see through those tactics. They know this is the Trump shutdown. They know Republicans control the presidency, the Senate, and the House. And what is done during the shutdown will fall squarely on the Republicans' back. Donald Trump even says it. He says he is going to close down all these things people want. It's going to fall right on his back. The American people will know who's doing it, and he's going to have to recoil from it, just as they have done so many cuts already, even before October 1st. And they had to back off on many of them, some because of the courts, but some because of public outcry, such as the huge cutbacks they made in the VA. Well, Democrats' positions hasn't changed. We're willing, ready, and able to negotiate. We're ready to reopen the government today. We've made our position clear about how to move forward. Surely, we can come together and agree we need to fix health care, and that needs to happen now, as people are getting If Republicans work with us and fix America's health care crisis, the shutdown could go away very quickly. And that's what Democrats want, to end this now, fix health care now. It's the right thing to do for the American people. We urge our Republican colleagues, we urge President Trump to take yes for an answer. Yield the floor.
Mr. President.
Republican leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, here we are. Democrats have bowed to the far left and they've shut down the federal government. As of this morning, critical federal employees, including members of the military, Border Patrol agents, and air traffic controllers, are working without pay. And a number of government services are unavailable or at risk. Mr. President, Democrats are well aware of the damage of a government shutdown. We've heard it from them time and time again. But apparently, none of that matters to Democrats today. All that seems to matter is that their far-left base sees them fighting against President Trump. And the American people just have to suffer the consequences. Mr. President, we can end this today. There is a clean, nonpartisan, continuing resolution at the desk. It has no partisan policy writers, no new Republican policies. It just keeps the government running until November the 21st. The House passed it. The President is ready to sign it into law. And the only thing standing in the way is Senate Democrats, who are demanding $1.5 trillion in partisan spending to keep the government open for 7 weeks. That's right. They are demanding more than the defense budget in their resolution to keep the government open for 4 weeks. Mr. President, that's not how this works. We were in the situation 13 times when Democrats had the majority under President Biden. And 13 times, Republicans provided more than enough votes to keep the government open. And that's what needs to happen here. We are just one Senate roll call vote away from ending this shutdown. We need a handful of Democrats to join Republicans to reopen the government. And once we do that, then we can talk about the issues that Democrats are raising. But we're not going to engage in bipartisan discussions while Democrats are holding the federal government hostage to their partisan demands. Mr. President, this Democrat shutdown is actually delaying progress on the issues that Democrats claim to be interested in. It's also delaying important work on appropriations bills. Now, I've said throughout this year that my goal is to do appropriations through regular order which allows members of both parties to give voice to their priorities and to help shape appropriations bills. And we've made good progress already this year. Thanks to the work of Chair Collins and the Appropriations Committee, we've passed 3 bipartisan bills before the August recess for the first time since 2018. And there are a number of additional bills ready for floor consideration. But that work is now delayed because we have to deal with the Democrat shutdown mess. Mr. President, how long this shutdown lasts depends entirely on Democrats. Republicans are united around a clean, nonpartisan funding extension. A few Democrats joined us last night and voted to keep the government open. They'll have another opportunity to vote today. And I hope more of our Democrat colleagues will agree to end this shutdown. Real people are suffering right now because of Democrats' temper tantrum. And it needs to stop. Mr. President, I want to close with this. In 2019, in the midst of another shutdown, the Democrat leader urged reopening the government before negotiating on the one point of disagreement. He said then, and I quote, "Why must we hold millions of Americans who depend on the services of these agencies that are closed, hundreds of thousands of workers who get paid by these agencies, why must we hold them hostage? Why must a temper tantrum determine how we vote and what happens in this government? Everyone can shut down the government on anything, any leader, any president. It is not the way to do things." End quote. Well, Mr. President, I hope that the Democrat leader will heed his own words. Democrats need to reopen the government, and we need to get back to work for the American people. Mr. President, I yield the floor, and I suggest the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alston-Brooks.
Majority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent that the quorum call be vitiated.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, Senate Democrats have now dragged us into the Schumer shutdown. When I say us, I mean all of us as Americans. Didn't have to happen. And it certainly doesn't need to continue. Americans are overwhelmingly against the shutdown of our government. New polling from the New York Times and Siena just came out, and the polling proves it. Here's the key finding. 2 out of 3 Americans believe that Democrats should not shut down the government, even if they don't get their $1 trillion ransom fee paid, which, of course, they won't. Only 47% of the Democrats support a shutdown. That's not even a majority of Democrats. Senate Democrats are on the wrong side of Republicans, they're on the wrong side of independents, and they're on the wrong side of their own party. There is only one good option to reopen the government, and that option is a bipartisan, clean, continuing resolution that we will vote on this morning. The House already passed it with bipartisan support. President Trump is ready to sign it. Senate Republicans voted yesterday in an attempt to pass it. It failed yesterday, and we're going to offer it again today. All it takes to reopen the government is cooperation from just 5 more Senate Democrats. We picked up 3 Democrats last night, so there are clearly cracks on their side of the aisle and movement towards our side. That will continue. We are ready to vote for it again and again and again to make sure we can reopen the government for the American people. And there is bipartisan, broad bipartisan support to open the government. That's what the New York Times revealed, and that's what the vote revealed last evening. 5 more Democrats join us today. The shutdown is over. Because remember, it takes 60 votes in the Senate to get something like this passed and accomplished. And all we're asking is to reopen the government for the next 7 weeks. Democrats supported these same funding levels before. Now they claim the levels aren't good enough. Democrats are now demanding $1.5 trillion in new spending for just reopening the government for 4 short weeks. That's $48 billion of new spending each and every day of the 4 weeks in the Democrats' proposal. This is a direct attack on hardworking American taxpayers who voted against wasteful Washington spending in the elections in November. Think back to previous continuing resolutions just like this one. You can think back to 13 of them during the time Joe Biden was in office at the White House. 13 of these passed. The minimum number of votes was 65. We voted to keep the government open, bipartisan. When Joe Biden and Barack Obama were president, Democrats said shutdowns were dangerous, destructive, and desperate. That's the word of the Democrats. Dangerous, destructive, desperate. Listen to those words. Listen to what Chuck Schumer said. He said, passing a clean CR would avert a harmful and unnecessary government shutdown. He also said if a government shuts down, it'll be average Americans who suffer the most. But yesterday, he stood here in the well and then voted to shut down the government. Senator Patty Murray of Washington is the top Democrat on the Senate Appropriations Committee. She has said a shutdown solves nothing. She went on to say, and it hurts everyone. Yesterday, she voted to shut down the government. Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts said that a shutdown, quote, is the last resort for those who can't otherwise win their fights through elections and can't win their fights in Congress. Well, yesterday, she voted to shut down the government. Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut said, quote, there is a time and a place to debate health care, but not when the funding of the federal government and all the lives that are impacted by it hang in the balance. Well, yesterday, he voted to shut down the government. Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota is a member of the Senate Democrat leadership. She said, shutdowns are not good for the economy. Yesterday, she voted to shut down the government. Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii said, I've seen the same thing over and over again. He said, shutdowns don't work, no one wins, but Americans have a lot to lose. Yesterday, he voted to shut down the government. Those were Senate Democrat words when there was a Democrat in the White House. Yet last night, when it mattered, Democrats ignored their own warnings. Either their memories are short or their principles are situational. The costs they describe are now a reality. Border Patrol agents are showing up to work. They're not getting paid. The Border Patrol Union warns that shutdowns threaten their capacity to maintain the most secure border in our nation's history. Veterans' health care is going to be impacted. Low-income families will lose vital benefits to help buy groceries. Republicans are committed to reopening the government with a clean, continuing resolution. That'll allow us to finish the appropriations process the right way. Mr. President, when he was Majority Leader, Senator Schumer broke that process, the appropriations process. Last year, the Senate Appropriations Committee passed, the committee, not Chuck Schumer, but that committee passed 11 of 12 appropriations bills, many of them unanimous, always bipartisan. And what happened? Senator Schumer let each and every one of them rot and die in his Senate desk drawer. He shut down the appropriations process, and now he wants to shut down the government. Republicans have restored the appropriations process. For the first time in 4 years, the Senate passed appropriation bills in August, passed 3 of them. Senator Susan Collins of Maine deserves special praise and thanks for this achievement. Passing a clean CR will allow the Senate to finish our bipartisan work. The American people want their government open. They want it reopened. They want it to remain open. They want it working. So today, Democrats are facing a clear choice. They can govern in the best interest of the American people, or they can continue to grandstand for their retweets and their likes from their liberal base. Republicans are united in our commitment to reopen the government. How long it takes, how costly it is, that, Mr. President, is entirely up to the Senate Democrats. A bipartisan offer, a bipartisan bill that already passed the House is right here in the Senate for a vote today. The President is ready to sign it to reopen the government. It is time to pass the bill today and end this Schumer shutdown. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to waive the mandatory quorum calls with respect to calendar number 167, S2882, calendar 168, HR 5371.
Without objection.
I yield the floor.
Senator from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, it's not even one day after Republicans chose to shut down the government instead of making any sort of progress on stopping health care premiums from skyrocketing. And it is already painfully clear that Republican leadership is not taking any of this seriously. Republican leadership doesn't care if millions of Americans lose their health insurance. Republican leadership does not care if your health care costs go through the roof. And despite a lot of showboating yesterday, Republican leadership obviously doesn't care how long this shutdown goes on. Just consider, if Republican leadership and President Trump actually cared about reopening the government, Trump would not be tweeting AI deepfakes and mariachi music, or bragging about how he can't wait to use a shutdown as an excuse to inflict more pain on the American people. If they actually cared about reopening the government, Russ Vought wouldn't be saying he'll fire everyone he can, no matter if firing them is necessary or not, and no matter how harmful it is or not. If they actually cared about reopening the government, Republican leaders would not be pressing ahead with the same failed bill as yesterday and refusing to finally work with Democrats to finalize a solution. If Republican leadership actually cared about reopening the government, House Republicans would actually be here. Let me say that again. House Republicans are not even here. Are we supposed to believe they are taking this seriously? I guess not. And if Republican leadership actually cared about reopening the government, they would be talking with us about how the actual issues we want to address, how to stop skyrocketing health prices, hospital closures, millions of patients from losing their health insurance. Instead, they are screaming illegal immigration and telling bold-faced lies about Democrats' proposal to try and talk about anything but health care. That really gives away the game Republican leaders are playing with the American people, doesn't it? Democrats want Republicans to sit down at the table for a serious negotiation about really serious issues. But Republican leadership is off playing make-believe in la-la land. How are we supposed to negotiate with President Trump when he's busy frying his mind in an AI fantasy world of mariachi bands and science fiction medbeds and who knows what next? And how are we supposed to negotiate with Republican leaders when they are refusing to work on a bipartisan path out and just making lies up about our Democratic proposal? For everyone who's only heard the Republican nonsense, let me make our agenda clear. Here's what Democrats actually want to do. We want to stop your health care premiums from doubling next year. We want to stop millions of people from getting priced out of their insurance and getting sick or going without care. We want to stop hospitals from closing. I wonder why Republicans have such a hard time being honest about that. Well, maybe because they caused this healthcare crisis in the first place. And let's be crystal clear, it is not honest for Republicans to try and just say, oh, well, we can just talk about healthcare later. We pinky promise. Rate hikes are being finalized right now. Notices with massive price increases will land in our families' mailboxes this month. Open enrollment starts in a matter of a few weeks. That means families are going to start seeing their premiums double. People are going to get priced out of coverage, that is, unless we act now. There is no waiting. We have been waiting. There is no later. That is too late. Our Republicans say they will not talk about solutions until the damage is done. Are they saying they want to lock in the high health care rates first? You know, the best time to put out a fire is before it burns down the house. Surely Republicans don't need me to tell them that. But if Republicans insist on asking why we can't address health care later, I've got a few questions for them. First off, why the heck couldn't we talk about health care sooner? Huh? Where in the world have you been? You moved heaven and earth to pass new tax breaks for billionaires by cutting over $1 trillion from Americans' health care. Why won't you move a muscle to save health care for our working families? I mean, my goodness, why is it not until there is a shutdown Republican leaders will even say we can at least talk about health care? Oh, but not yet. And if a shutdown is the first time Republican leaders will even acknowledge in the slightest whisper the looming healthcare crisis, why should we trust for 1 second you'll keep your word later? Republicans have been choosing to ignore this healthcare crisis for months, and now they face another choice. How much longer are they going to insist on this partisan path? How much longer are they going to stick their heads in the sand? Because I will warn them, the American people cannot wait. One family in my state of Washington is about to see their premiums jump from $283 a month to as high as $1,800 a month if Republicans insist on inaction. And I know they're not the only ones. To my Republican colleagues who don't think this is a crisis, to anyone who thinks health care can wait, go out and talk to people. Talk to insurance companies in your states, or doctors, or hospitals, or patients, and then come to the table and talk with us. We are here. We are ready to work on real solutions to address this healthcare crisis and reopen the government. I've been at the table the whole time. I am here. I am ready. I am willing to work out a real solution to get this done. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
Cloture motion. We, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close the debate on the motion to proceed to calendar number 167 S2882, a bill making continuing appropriations for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2026, and for other purposes, signed by 17 senators.
Under previous order, the mandatory quorum call under Rule 22 has been waived. The question is the sense of the Senate that debate on the motion to proceed to S2882, a bill making continuing appropriations for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2026, and for the purpose shall be brought to close. The yeas and nays are mandatory under the rule. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt-Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito. Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice. Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee. Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis. Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina. Mrs. Shaheen. Mr. Sheehy.
I'm assuming.
Ms. Slotkin. Ms. Smith. Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Thune. Mr. Tillis. Mr. Tuberville. Mr. Van Hollen. Mr. Warner. Mr. Warnock. Ms. Warren. Mr. Welch. Mr. Whitehouse. Mr. Wicker. Mr. Wyden. Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Cantwell, Hassan, Murray, Padilla, Peters, Rosen, Shaheen, Smith, and Whitehouse. Senators voting in the negative: Barrasso, Bozeman, Capito, Cornyn, Cotton, Fisher, Graham, Haggerty, Heidsmith, Kennedy, Lemus, Marino, Mullen, Murkowski, Paul, Scott of Florida, Sheehy, and Tuberville. Mr. Schmidt, no. Mr. Merkley, aye. Mr. Sanders, aye. Mr. Wyden, aye. Mr. Langford. Mr. Langford, no. Mr. Durbin. Mr. Durbin, aye. Mr. McCormick. Mr. McCormick, no. Mr. Husted. Mr. Husted, no. Mr. Ricketts. Mr. Ricketts, no. Mr. Curtis. Mr. Curtis, no. Ms. Baldwin. Ms. Baldwin, aye. Mr. Tillis. Mr. Tillis, no. Mr. Heinrich. Mr. Heinrich, aye. Mr. Risch. Mr. Risch, no. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly, aye. Mr. Warnock. Mr. Warnock, aye. Ms. Warren. Ms. Warren, aye. Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wicker, no.
That was for you.
Ms. Collins, no. Ms. Blunt Rochester, Ms. Blunt Rochester, aye. Mr. Murphy, aye. Mr. Reed, aye. Mr. Grassley, no. Mr. Lujan, aye. Mr. Gallego, aye. Mr. Hawley, no. Mr. Schiff, aye. Mr. King, aye. Mr. Rounds, no. Mrs. Blackburn, no. Mr. Schatz, aye. Mrs. Britt, no. Mr. Kane, aye. Mr. Cruz, no. Mr. Johnson, no. Mr. Daines, Mr. Daines, no. Mr. Young, no. Mr. Banks, no. Mr. Marshall, no. Ms. Cortez Masto, aye. Ms. Hirono, aye. Mr. Crapo, no. Mrs. Moody, no. Mr. Hoven, no. Mr. Kim, aye. Mr. Warner, aye. Mr. Moran, no. Mr. Justice, no. Ms. Slotkin, aye. Mr. Lee, no. Mr. Fetterman, aye. Mr. Cassidy, no. Mr. Ossoff, aye. Mr. Hickenlooper, aye. Mr. Budd, no. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, no. Mr. Van Hollen, aye. Mr. Markey, aye. Mrs. Gillibrand, aye. Mr. Schumer, aye. Mr. Thune, no. Ms. Alsobrooks, aye. Mr. Blumenthal, aye. Mr. Sullivan, no. Mr. McConnell, no. Mr. Booker, aye. Mr. Coons, aye. Ms. Klobuchar, aye. Mr. Bennett, aye. Ms. Duckworth, aye. Ms. Ernst, no. Mr. Welch, no. Mr. Welch, aye.
Looking out for you. Looking out.
Mr. Kramer. Mr. Kramer, no.
On this vote, the yeas are 47, the nays are 53. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to be in order for the two leaders to enter motions to reconsider without being on the prevailing side with respect to the cloture votes on the motion to proceed to S 2882 and HR 5371. Further, that mandatory quorum calls with respect to the cow nomination and S Res 412 be waived.
Is there objection? Without objection.
Mr. President,
Minority Leader.
I enter a motion to reconsider the vote on the motion to invoke cloture on the motion to proceed to S 2882.
The motion is entered. The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
Cloture motion. We, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close debate on the motion to proceed to calendar number 168, HR 5371, an act making continuing appropriations and extensions for the fiscal year 2026 and for other purposes, signed by 17 senators.
Under the previous order, the mandatory quorum call under Rule 22 has been waived. The question is it the sense of the Senate that debate on the motion to proceed to H.R. 5371, an act making continuing appropriations and extensions for fiscal year 2026 and for other purposes, shall be brought to a close. The yeas and nays are mandatory under the rule. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Height-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Barrasso, Britt, Budd, Cornyn, Cortez Masto, Cotton, Kramer, Daines, Ernst, Fetterman, Graham, Grassley, Johnson, Justice, Kennedy, King, Langford, Marshall, McConnell, Moody, Marino, Mullen, Scott of South Carolina, and Sullivan. Ms. Collins, aye. Senators voting in the negative: Mr. Moran, aye. Senators voting in the negative: Blumenthal, Blunt Rochester, Coons, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Kane, Kim, Merkley, Murray, Ossoff, Padilla, Reed, Sanders, Schumer, Slotkin, Warnock, and Welch. Mr. Hawley, aye. Mrs. Shaheen, no.
What that means is that every resource management plan from 1996 when the CRA was forward.
Ms. Klobuchar, no. Ms. Murkowski, aye. Ms. Also Brooks. Ms. Also Brooks, no. Ms. Duckworth. Ms. Duckworth, no. Mr. Markey. Mr. Markey, no. Mr. Thune. Mr. Thune, aye. Mr. Cassidy. Mr. Cassidy, aye. Mr. Durbin. Mr. Durbin, no. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly, no. Mr. Lujan. Mr. Lujan, no. Ms. Hassan. Ms. Hassan, no. Mr. Peters. Mr. Peters, No. Ms. Cantwell, Ms. Cantwell, no. Mr. Hoven, aye. Mr. Ricketts, aye. Mr. Sheehy, aye. Mr. Schiff, no. Mr. Lee, aye. Mr. Crapo, aye. Mr. Bennett, no. Mr. Tuberville, aye. Ms. Warren, no. Mrs. Blackburn, aye. Mr. Bozeman, aye. Mr. Rounds, aye. Mr. Haggerty, Mr. Haggerty, aye. Ms. Baldwin, Ms. Baldwin, no. Mr. Schatz, no. Mr. Van Hollen, no. Ms. Rosen, no. Mrs. Capito, aye. Mr. Husted, aye. Mr. Banks, aye. Mr. Wyden, no. Mr. Booker, no. Ms. Hirono, no. Mr. McCormick, aye. Mr. Curtis, aye. Mr. Murphy, no. Mrs. Gillibrand, no. Mrs. Fisher. Mrs. Fisher, aye. Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith, no. Mr. Schmidt. Mr. Schmidt, aye. Ms. Lummis. Ms. Lummis, aye. Mr. Tillis. Mr. Tillis, aye. Mr. Gallego. Mr. Gallego, no. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott of Florida, aye. Mr. Whitehouse. Mr. Whitehouse, no. Mr. Risch. Mr. Risch, aye. Mr. Paul, no. Mr. Young, aye. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Cruz, aye. Mr. Wicker, aye. Mrs. Hyde Smith, aye.
Hello, Lindsay. How are you? On this vote, the yeas are 55 and the nays are 45. 3/5 of the Senate duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmation. The motion is not agreed to.
Mr. President,
Majority Leader.
I enter a motion to reconsider,
Motion is entered.
and I ask unanimous consent that if any nominations are confirmed during today's session of the Senate, that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table, and the President be immediately notified of the Senate's action.
Without objection. The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
Cloture motion. We, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close debate on the nomination of Hung Kao of Virginia to be Undersecretary of the Navy, signed by 17 senators.
Under the previous order, the mandatory quorum call under Rule 22 has been waived. The question is it the sense of the Senate that the debate on the nomination of Hung Kao of Virginia to be Undersecretary of the Navy shall be brought to a close? The yeas and nays are mandatory under the rule. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks. Ms. Baldwin. Thank you. Thank you. I got you. I got you. Mr. Banks. I got you. Thank you. Mr. Barrasso. Thank you. I got Scott. I got him. Thank you. Yeah, he didn't see me. Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn. Mr. Blumenthal. Ms. Blunt Rochester. Mr. Booker. Mr. Bozeman. I got him. No, not yet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. Mrs. Britt. Mr. Budd. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Budd. Ms. Cantwell. Mrs. Capito. Okay. Thanks. Mr. Cassidy. Thanks. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer. I got you. I did.
Perfect. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis. Thank you. Mr. Daines. Ms. Duckworth. Mr. Durbin. Ms. Ernst. Mr. Fetterman. Mrs. Fisher. Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand. Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty. Ms. Hassan. Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich. Mr. Hickenlooper. Mr. Hirono. Mr. Hoven. Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Justice. Mr. Kane. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kim. Mr. King. Ms. Klobuchar. Mr. Langford. Mr. Lee. Mr. Lujan. Ms. Lemus. Mr. Markey. Mr. Marshall. Mr. McConnell. Mr. McCormick. Mr. Merkley. Mrs. Moody. Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino. Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski. Mr. Murphy. Mrs. Murray. Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, yep, Mr. Young, Senators voting in the affirmative: Barrasso, Bozeman, Capito, Cassidy, Collins, Cornyn, Cotton, Crapo, Cruz, Curtis, Graham, Grassley, Hawley, Husted, Hyde-Smith, Lankford, Lee, Lummis, McConnell, Moran, Mullen, Paul, Ricketts, Rounds, Schmidt, Scott of Florida, Scott of South Carolina, Sheehy, Thune, Tillis, Wicker, and Young. Mrs. Fisher, aye. I have you. Senators voting in the negative: Baldwin, Bennett, Blumenthal, Blunt Rochester, Cantwell, Duckworth, Durbin, Fetterman, Gallego, Gillibrand, Hassan, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Kane, Kim, King, Lujan, Merkley, Murkowski, Murray, Padilla, Peters, Reed, Rosen, Schiff, Slotkin, Warner, Warnock, Welch, Whitehouse, and Wyden. Mr. Booker, no. Ms. Smith? No. Ms. Warren? No. Mr. Marshall? Aye. Mr. Hoven? Aye. Mr. Sullivan? Aye. Mr. Ossoff? No. Mr. Banks? Aye. Mr. Schatz? No. Ms. Also Brooks? No. Mrs. Shaheen? No. Mr. Kelly? No. Mr. Daines? Aye. Mr. Markey? No. Holland? No.
Then why wouldn't you do it?
Ms. Cortez Masto, no. Ms. Ernst, aye. Mr. Budd, aye. Mr. McCormick, aye. Ms. Klobuchar, no. Mr. Marino, aye. Mr. Kennedy, aye. Mrs. Moody, aye. Mrs. Britt, aye. Mrs. Blackburn, aye. Mr. Johnson, aye. Mr. Kramer, aye. Mr. Schumer, no. Mr. Murphy, no.